So I'm starting to get into a little bit of a routine here on the boat. Um, at some point here soon, I'm going to have to go home and maybe finish up a couple of the house projects I was working on and pack up the stuff I'm going to need to live on this boat for the next, 14 to 18 months, whatever that turns out to be. There's been a lot of resistance. I'm a certified mental health, career, parent, and business coach. I've worked for a company called Healthy Gamer for a couple of years now, and working with Dr. K. You can look him up on YouTube if you don't know who he is. I love his mix of kind of Eastern and Western philosophies on psychology, and was drawn to him because I had more and more of the students that I work with, and I attract a lot of neurodivergent students, and go figure, Dr. K attracts a lot of neurodivergent folks. But as these kids were coming to me for coaching and for our school program and, various things that I do to help, I noticed that they were more and more depressed, more anxious, more, a lot more of the negative stuff. Especially most especially the kids that were coming out of the public school system, where they had really felt suppressed and pretty beat up. But along the way, some of the most interesting tidbits that I have found that have been helpful to me have come from Dr. K and his training and mentoring, and also from other folks like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. They're a pair of kind of high profile coaches in the industry, and years ago I took some courses from them, and I was in some of their programs. And one of the most important things I learned came from Dean Graziosi. There's resistance that comes up. If you feel yourself wanting to beat yourself up because you didn't do something, right? That's what we do. We know we need to do something, we're not doing it. There's resistance there. We don't really recognize what that is necessarily, or even that it is resistance. A lot of times we've just been trained to beat ourselves up for being lazy. Oh, that's a word I hate. It For being lazy, we beat ourselves up and think that we're stupid. Why can't I just do this? And that's the message that we've been getting since we've been in school. You're smart, you can just do this. Why can't you just do this? And there's a lot of entrepreneurial messages that I really struggled with over the years. And it turns out it's because I'm neurodivergent, and that stuff didn't work for me. It's not that it was bad advice. All the advice out there works really well for some people and not for others. But what I was trained to do was beat myself up because it didn't work for me, instead of looking for another solution. So here's a solution that Dean gave me. Dean Graziosi put out there that has been really super helpful for me when it comes to resistance. So if you are not doing something that you need to do, filling out a form, doing your taxes, paying bills, whatever that is, there's an emotional thing going on inside of you that's keeping you from doing it. And one of the ways to get to that is through this technique that I got from Dean, and he called it 7 levels deep. So you go 7 levels deep. So I'm sitting here on this $100,000 boat, a 43-foot Ocean Alexander that was donated to Cultivating Currents. And this whole thing with Cultivating Currents and the America's Great Loop, and doing science on the loop and bringing science to kids and all of that has been a dream of mine and a passion of mine. But also there's a lot of fear in there. There's a lot of, this is huge. It's a big thing. Now I'm on this big boat with systems that I am barely beginning to understand, the things that aren't working that should. mostly probably because of my lack of knowledge. And so there's all this underlying fear that I'm not going to be good enough, that I'm not going to be capable of making this happen. And one of the things that I find that I'm stalling on, and I don't beat myself up anymore, I look at it and I go, okay, I needed to do this thing, I've procrastinated it. You know, the first couple times you procrastinate something, there could be good legitimate excuses for it, but if it keeps happening, if you keep procrastinating it, there's resistance, there's something going on that's deeper. And one of the things that I'm procrastinating on is the big announcement, the press releases, letting the world know that we're in the works now, that I'm sitting here on a boat. This is it. This is real. This is happening. And it is really big, and it is really scary, and it's a massive undertaking, and I can't do it myself. I need help. I've never been good at asking for help. And I'm terrified, literally, when I sit and think about why I'm procrastinating putting out the press release and the announcements. It's because I'm scared. I haven't even updated the website. And it's not because I'm not grateful for this amazing donation, because I'm incredibly grateful for it. But there's an underlying fear there. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to work through what those fears are. Probably not on camera because it'll be a long, boring video, maybe. Or maybe I'll do a part 2 and kind of walk you through it. But I'm going to go 7 levels deep. Because on the surface, I'm not sure why I'm procrastinating this. I'm not sure what the fear is that's coming up. So I'm going to do Dean's thing, which has rescued me time and time and time again over the last, 6-7 years. And I'm going to go 7 levels deep, and I'll explain what that is so that you can try it when you find yourself getting stuck. And maybe I'll post a second video where I've walked through this. But it can be really deeply personal, right? And maybe embarrassing. Like, this whole thing can be embarrassing. Like, it feels on the surface, you want to be like, oh, this is ridiculous. But it's not. It's so normal, and it happens to everybody. It does. And the more we beat ourselves up, the more prone we are to continue procrastinating and never get to the bottom of what it is that's stopping us from doing it. So this can be a very healing process. So what you do is you ask yourself the question. So for me, and you have a pen and a piece of paper, because if you don't write this down, your brain is going to trick you into stopping before you have really got to the answer. So my first question is, why am I afraid to send these because I've already done enough reflection to know that there's a fear here, right? So I know I'm afraid to send the press releases. So why am I afraid to send the press releases? All right, so that's my first, and announcements. I haven't sent an email. I haven't posted it on my Facebook. I've kind of snuck some videos in there, but I haven't done anything formal. So why am I afraid to send the press releases and announcements? Why am I afraid to make this public? And so then number 2, and the reason you write this down, like I said, is because your brain will trick you into stopping at around number 5, and it's at 6 and 7 that you really actually get to that emotional heart of it that's so important to get to. So number 2, I'm going to take the answer to that question, whatever my brain throws out, because the first 1 or 2 answers, your brain's just throwing crap out there, right? It's justifying. It could be something like, well, I haven't had time, the boat's taken a lot of my time, bullshit. So whatever my brain throws out, I'm going to turn into question 2. So if I was to say, well, I've been too busy trying to deal with the boat and figure out the systems and get everything running, then my second question could be something like, why have I not allowed myself to take the time I need to do this very important step, right? To take this action. And then whatever that answer is, that turns into question number 3, and so on and so on and so on. And what I have found over the years, almost every single time, is when I get to 5, when I really start to dig in, because the first answers just fly out of your head and they're BS. And so you keep digging down. And when I get to like 4 or 5 and I'm digging for the real answer, and it's always in there, I start to feel the emotion coming up, right? I might feel like I'm gonna cry. I start to feel that emotion. And so I push into the next one, into number 6, and I really start to feel the emotion. And, sometimes, depending on what it is, by 7, I'm like bawling my eyes out. There was this thing that happened to me when I was like, I don't know, 8. And when I was 8, it was really big. It was a big thing, right? And it's rattled around inside my little child brain in there. And as an adult, I can face it. And you know what? It's not so big anymore. I can handle it. And so then I can process it, and I can, look, I'm actually getting a little bit emotional just thinking about some of the emotions that have come up with this exercise. So it's a fantastic exercise. Anyway, I'm here on the boat. It's absolutely amazing. I am going to get that press release out today. But I am also going to walk through these 7 levels and dig in and figure out where that resistance is coming from. And then I'll be able to process that resistance, sit with it for a minute, and let it go, hopefully. A lot of times I can just let it go. This exercise has been life-changing for me over the years, every time I hit resistance. And I'm 61. I'm telling you what, I started on that self-improvement journey like when I was 36. And it is amazing to me how, no matter how far we've come, no matter where we're going, right, we're still working through different things from our past, our childhood, whatever, that causes an emotional stop in us. It causes that resistance. It keeps us from doing the work that we need to be doing or want to be doing. And so getting to the bottom of that, I promise you, is a huge thing. Stop beating ourselves up for having that resistance. Huge self-love. A lot of us talk to ourselves. This is something I've had to really learn to undo over the years, as we talk to ourselves in a manner that we would never talk to somebody else's child or another person, right? So stop doing that and start thinking about what's really going on inside and doing some deep reflection. And I'm going to be working through this, and you will see an announcement later today, right, about this amazing process that we've started and this amazing adventure we're about to undertake.